We had an amazing time at our last baptismal service, and at the end of it, while I was still in the pool, we had an opportunity for anyone who wanted to be baptized and hadn't had a kind of believer's baptism to come and be baptized. And we were all super excited when Julie Walker kind of ran forward. I think you might have seen the video that Dave produced for us, and was baptized there and then. And I think in the excitement we didn't ask if anyone else wanted to come and be baptized, and we just kind of stopped and went on. And we later found out that a number of people had wanted to come forward as well. A couple of weeks later, Brian Durrant had been preaching, and after the worship and during the ministry time, he said he felt that God was telling him that some people had to come forward as a commitment that they would get baptized, because they'd missed that opportunity. God had spoken to them, and now they were to kind of say publicly, yep, I'm ready to be baptized. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're talking to a few folk who committed on that Sunday to be baptized, and we're just going to speak to them in a moment over there. So we're all here. We want to just talk about being baptized. You guys all responded to what Brian said on that Sunday, seems ages ago, about wanting to be baptized. So I just wanted to ask, why haven't you been baptized? Am I allowed to ask such a direct question?
Yeah. There's been a lot going sort of on in my life, in my own head, in terms of what I've been doing in my spiritual life, and it comes down to sort of not wanting to be committed. I've been hurt once before when I got confirmed when I was 16. I sort of gave my life to the Lord for the first time, and then soon after I sort of got spiritual attacks where it got me into a lot of trouble at school. So I guess I'm sort of a bit tentative, but I've always said, I've got to do this. And my home group are like, yeah, you got to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but why am I doing it? Why do I have to do this? At the start of this year, I went through a bit of a dark patch in my life. I've suffered from a bit of depression for the first time in my life, and I'm, those that know me, I'm a glass half full sort of guy, not a glass half empty. And
your bottle's a bit empty though.
Yeah.
Another one. Have a drink, please, Simon.
Yeah.
Chill, everyone's.
That's alright.
So good, we're all just sitting here like this.
Am I?
Everyone else is, you're relaxed. Everyone else looking around you.
We're trying to have good camera posture.
Yeah.
Cat is frozen.
You've thrown me off my speak now.
Sorry, yeah.
It just, it's crazy to think, that I'm speaking this out now. But I knew it wasn't me, and I said to my wife, I've got to do something about this. I just, I ran out of options really. I went to the doctor, I got some help and all that. And I just said, what, God, if this is, the bottom of the earth and, bottom of my heart now, I've got nothing left to give. I'm going to really give you a full go. And we started watching a thing called Starting Point.
Yep.
Andy Stanley sort of came into my life. He's a church leader, like in a base in America. I sort of got, taken aback about how easily he spoke about Christianity and how you can erase everything that you've ever learnt from Bible stories for, that you have to do this, you have to do that, have to do this. And it sort of spoke to me in a lot, my sort of language really. It was like very simple. And when I went through, all I could think about is geez, that really makes a lot of sense. I've always struggled to understand why Jesus died for us and why people make such a big fuss about us. And listening to that whole series just totally transformed my view of what it meant and how it would, Jesus coming to the earth and changing what was God's and Moses, the whole thing changed when he came. The whole rule book changed, so to speak.
So what made you read your Bible?
I developed a hunger to learn, to know more. I think my relationship with Jesus, God, I just wanted to know more.
So when did that kind of change for you? I think, if I remember rightly, there was something about the 38th birthday, so that's more than a couple of years ago, really.
And cut.
This is true. Yeah, so my sister bought me a Joyce Meyer yearly devotion book. I just put it up in my bedroom, by my bedside table. And I was walking out of my room and I felt, God, I've never heard him speak before, but it was really clear. Go and read your devotion. Go and read this devotion.
Can you just explain, was it an audible voice or just a thought?
It was really clear. I knew it was God speaking to me, but it wasn't. It was very gentle. It could have been a feeling or thought. It wasn't like a big booming voice or anything. It was just.
It was a clear sort of guidance to go and do something.
Oh, it was really clear. So I opened up the book And obviously it's the 1st of January, but it wasn't the 1st of January. I thought, okay, quickly turn to that page. And it was a really quite apt message, because the end bit said, don't wait 38 years for your miracle to happen. Is it because of your lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, blah, blah, blah? Don't not step out in faith. And then I did the school run. And it was that same day, and one of the daughters of my friends, she was talking about a course and access to midwifery, and I was like, oh, what's that? And I went home, thought, oh, and I just enrolled. And it was a complete leap of faith, because I haven't studied for over 20 years, and I didn't know if I could get into it. It just felt like the right thing to do, and your heart's going right into the dozen, and you just think, am I mad? And I got on, and I thought, I'm not good enough, this is crazy, what's it going to do to my family? Again, in marriage, it's tough.
And Lee's not always the most supportive, is he?
He's terrible. He's amazing, but it's just, we had to do the right thing. So we had to get au pairs. So someone living in your home needed a car, you had a certain amount of money, couldn't find anything, and suddenly this car appeared for the exact amount of money, and you just think everything's been put in place, and God is definitely laying the pathway. I've been called dumb blonde, you're stupid, you're not good enough for all this. But
By who?
oh, people along the way.
This theme about not being good enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick on you now, Sarah, as well. It was something you said as well about specifically being baptised. You kind of felt you were not good enough. And
I just never feel like I'm holy enough. Like, there's people at church who know loads of the Bible stuff, and I'm not one of them. I'm not a Bible person at all. Remembering all the verses and all that stuff, I don't feel that's my gift, kind of thing. But I was saying, like, after speaking to a few people about baptism, and so after Brian and you said about coming forward, I just have that gut instinct that this is what I should do. And at the previous baptisms, I've always been like, this is amazing, and just felt really like emotional about them, and often a bit like teary and stuff. And then it was when he opened it up, and I was like, oh, I should go, but I was working on kids, so I was like, no, this isn't the time. And I was thinking, I haven't got any spare clothes, and the makeup, the hair, that kind of thing.
That was why I haven't done it.
That was fun. Yeah.
small letters.
But and especially the testimony thing was a major thing for me.
Yeah.
I think not having to do
So we've made it really easy by doing it on video.
Yeah, it is really easy. But not doing the testimony, I think, was a massive thing, and I could have just gone forward. And then obviously a few weeks later, Brian said, who'd come forward? And I was like, no, it's fine. But then I just had that fluttering feeling. I just had to go forward. But yeah, coming back to the Bible thing, I think, but you don't have to know everything. And that's the thing. I think I was chatting to Michelle, and she was like, the Bible just says believe and be baptised. It doesn't have to be a massive thing. It doesn't have to be.
You don't have to have a PhD in the Bible.
No, and I think that's okay. Yeah. But I'm still trying to tell myself that is okay, and that is fine to be baptised because of that reason. That there's not some amazing story behind it, or I'm really into the neighbouring thing, and actually a lot of people, that is their worst. That is something they wouldn't enjoy doing at all. But actually, I feel really comfortable doing that kind of stuff. So maybe my gifts are in different areas and not just the I know Lorraine always says to me, she's like, back in the day, obviously when I was at youth at church years and years ago, and then started going to your house group, and then she's like, now you're leading a house group, and she's like, how amazing is that actually I've had confidence in different ways. Our house group might not be the most super holy one, but that's fine. But I'm hoping maybe the baptism will make me more enthusiastic to reading the Bible, and I don't know.
It might not.
might not.
I mean, one of the things we all have in common is we've all been Christians for quite a long time. Would that be right, Chris?
Yeah, long enough.
Long enough. It sounds like, I'm over it.
I was thinking, actually, it's been about 9 years.
Yeah.
8 and a bit, almost 9 years I've been a Christian. And baptism was one of those things that was never sort of on the cards at the start. It just wasn't an option, I guess. And the further along you get, the further along you're sort of put off. I think because of the excitement of every new Christian wanting to be baptized.
Yeah.
And they're up there and they're just super excited and filled with the Holy Spirit. And it's just like, don't see myself in their shoes. I think it's just opportunities, and you take advantage of them, and that's what it is for me right now anyways. It's a really good opportunity. There's no reason why I shouldn't. And I mean, like Sarah said, Jesus teaches, believe, be baptized, you'll be saved. and I'm not a massively spiritual person, and I don't talk about being saved, every day in conversation. But I do believe, and I do want to have a relationship with Jesus, and part of that is about obedience, like you said. So
Kat, you went to a church when you were growing up with what's his face, Rob.
Dave. Mine was about obedience quite a lot as well. So I really didn't want to be baptised, as you know, because my confirmation had been quite a meaningful one as a teenager, and I always thought, oh no, I don't need to do it, I don't want to do it. But
so baptised
as an infant, same day,
Yep, same day,
same together.
and then confirmed. Well, we weren't confirmed together, but same
day.
So it's all linked.
And the confirmation is you kind of agreeing and say, I agree with all of that. And for some children, it's just a present ceremony.
Yeah.
But for you, you're saying it definitely wasn't. Can you explain a little bit more?
So I was 15. I entered into it fully understanding what was going on. I believe at the time I was baptised in the Holy Spirit as well. It was really meaningful.
Yeah.
And so me and you had lots of discussions about the value of adult baptism, and God was just on my case completely. Got my small group to pray for me, which is always dangerous. I had words and pictures, but I really given to me, but I really wanted something for myself. And then God showed me a picture of my boys, Reuben, Jonah and Toby, watching me being baptised. And it struck me what an amazing witness that would be to those three. To show them that I was going to obey what God wanted. I guess for me, I'm being baptised because I love God and He is my saviour, but also to show them and the church that I can submit and be obedient sometimes.
Dave is the one who goes to DTI every year, Soul Survivor every year, at the risk of his marriage every year.
Not enough the next year.
And then, don't worry, you'll find something else. You've been to Sri Lanka how many times? 4 times to Sri Lanka. You're going to South Africa. And it's not just a case of you want to get away from Lorraine at all, but it's whenever there's an opportunity to do some sort of practical way of showing your love for Jesus. I mean, if you think of all the videos you do, all the time you spent practically.
The drone guy.
The drone guy. I mean, the reason we came to Sutton Vineyard Church Sutton, whatever it was the website. We looked at a number and the website was what brought us here, so it's your fault. But I don't know if any of us would think that about you being stuck in the mud.
I should have got baptised years ago, and I don't think I haven't been baptised because people keep saying you should be baptised, but equally I wanted to do it when I was ready, not when everyone else said I should do it.
Absolutely.
And I've been encouraged. No one's sort of been trying to push me in the pool, well, a few times, but yeah, this year has just been a different year for me in various ways. So I've been to DTI, which is the youth Christian camp that we go on every year for Vineyard churches, where there's about 1,000 kids there, and it's amazing, but it's for serving the kids. I go to Soul Survivor every year, and again it's to serve the kids. And it was this year, and when I went to the NLC, which is, there's a lot of acronyms, aren't there, which is the National Leaders Conference for Vineyard churches, and that was the first conference I'd been to for me.
Yeah.
Rather than going to look after other people for years. Like, I used to go to Spring Harvest all the time. I loved it. But that was a long time ago, so it was nice to go for me. And the topic of the conference was freedom, and that was my word for the year.
Your one word.
My one word. I don't know, everything sort of came, all these puzzle pieces came together. Then DTI, I've still got the bracelet on,
just in case no one believes
which
you,
says known. And again, so freedom and known. I don't know, I didn't feel free. I didn't feel there was something holding me back, and I don't know what it was. I still don't especially know what it was, but I've been praying, getting prayer for that, and getting people to pray for me, which is good. And being known by God is another big thing. So these two words that both from the NLC and DTI, and then Kat mentioned the baptisms, and I think Emma did, and Sarah did, and it's like, and there's been so many other people encouraging me along the way. And I think, unlike Kat, when I got confirmed, I think at the time, I remember one photo of me being confirmed, but I don't really remember the confirmation. I remember it happened, and some friends from uni came, and it was special. But this feels much more like I have been looking to do this for a long time, and every time, like Sarah said, when there's a baptism and you've sort of said, does anyone want to come up, and it's happened twice in the last sort of 4 years, and my heart's been going and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go up, and then Julie went up, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go next, and that was it. I spoke to you and you said exactly the same thing, and all of us, so
how can you follow Julie?
yeah.
Exactly.
So this just feels like the right time. It's silly things like the way we're doing this is different to what we normally do.
Lovely group of people.
It's a lovely group of people. It's people I know really well who I love, and it just feels like the right time to do it.
Love you too, Dave.
Love you too.
Felt like I really need to rein myself back in to change, certain aspects of my life that were impacting other people's lives. How, I came to get discipline as my word, and I was like, well, I have to be disciplined about that. So it started with me thinking, well, I've got to be disciplined, I'm going to lose some weight, feel good about myself, and start from there, really. And I started doing that, and I started feeling good. Then I got into the cycling, then I started listening. Every single day I cannot cycle to work without listening to a talk. The discipline sort of led on to other aspects of my life. But I feel like I'm ready to come off sort of medication and stuff as well. And the way, my relationship with my wife's gone as well, we've really come out of a dark patch, and I can see that, the positive influence it has on Hayley as well, my little girl. It's just so great that she's going to be brought up in that family, and then that's what I want, that's what I want for all of us. And I just felt like a failure, and I said, God, take my life, do whatever you need to do with it, I will follow you. And it's amazing what's just sort of happened in the last 6 months.
I mean, the Lord just blessed us and answered our prayers, gave us a house, gave me a job.
We gained Chris as well.
Gave them an employee, I guess. I don't know. It's genuinely surprising how things work out when you have a bit of faith. So it's just been good.
You guys have served a lot, and I know you set up the baptism pool for all the kind of baptisms we have.
Yeah, that was my excuse for a while.
That's why you two didn't want to do it. You didn't know who would do it.
Yeah, this is the trouble. So when you're watching this video, right? Chris and I are normally at the back doing this, doing the AV. So I don't know who's doing it at the minute.
Well, at the moment it's not working.
Yeah.
We're sat behind the computer.
Yeah,
we're sat behind the camera.
Yeah,
we're setting up. We're taking down. I think our serving goes a lot into helping out how things run.
Yeah,
and so we look past ourselves and onto others first. That's our gift. Like, I don't know the Bible very well. Like, similar to what Sarah's saying, that's not one of my giftings. I read and I reflect, and it just doesn't stick with me. But I just get out there and do things practically. Very similar to Dave. And I think for the longest time that's been a barrier. But it's just an excuse, I think. Really.
Yeah, I hide behind my computer, 100%.
I'm comfortable there, Yeah, and you have to step over that threshold. You have to, put yourself in a position where you're not so comfortable for Jesus to break through into your life sometimes.
Another thing that stopped me from sort of being baptized up to now is I've always sort of worried about what people would think of me. Do you know what I really, really hope that out of this whole thing, this whole experience, this whole video that we're making, is that, if you're the first time you've ever come to church and you've been invited here today or whatever it is, that we are normal people. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. We don't wake up every morning, bashing our Bibles against people's doors, and I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that I can actually be myself, know that I trust what I've learned, what I've seen about God and Jesus and His life, and I'm still learning all the time.
Like Michelle saying to me as well, she's like, if you don't do it this time, because obviously every time I've had that feeling of doing it, she was like, I think you'd look back and kind of probably regret not doing it, because like Dave said, it's a nice, not having to do a video in a different format and with people that I know really well. I think I would really regret if I then didn't do it.
And I think it's like what Chris just said as well, it's, God's surprising.
Yeah.
And the stuff that's gone on in my life, He's surprised us. We had to have IVF with our first baby, and then we got 2 for free kind of thing. Jobs have appeared, we've got the right houses, me getting a degree, He surprises you. He just kind of provides at the right time.
Just shows up, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think that for me is my decision for being baptised, is that reflecting back, I think being a bit older and a little bit wiser, a little bit.
That's about the older bit, the face.
I'm not older. Facey is heart isn't. But just looking back and reflecting, and actually how much he's given, I kind of see this as a celebration. And I want my kids to see that. I'm really pleased that you just said, and I thought, my kids are they're like, what? You're going in there? They're like, Mum doesn't get her hair wet. Well, I do something, you know, I have to be prepared. Have to be prepared, yeah.
We'll all do it in the toilet.
But it's just like, this is a celebration, and it's an amazing thing. And I just think, actually, I've gone past caring. I'm like, if you want to mock me for my faith, that's fine. But I've just seen what God's done for me and for other people, and it's amazing.